What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode where we are working on the 6.2 liter supercharged HEMI V8 engine. So on the last few videos, if you guys haven't watched the last few episodes, go check those out. You can see how we've gotten to this point. All of our valves are clean. Everything's cleaned up. We use Clay Milliken's trick of putting these in a drill with a little burgundy Scotch-Brite pad there, and got these things looking brand new. Other thing too, I saw a comment, and I did mention it before, but I'll mention it again. After we used the lapping compound on everything, we did clean everything up, so definitely want to make sure that you do that. But I did point it out in the last one, but just in case anybody is still wondering. And everything's good and clean and ready to go. You'll see here I have new valve stem seals. I was going to install them. I did one test. When I took off the stock ones and then I put this on, this felt really loose. Like even when I actually bought the kit to actually, like the tool to remove and install valve stem seals, it's like they come with like a little special punch and stuff so you can get them seated down. You could do it without it, but I did buy the actual tool kit for it. And when I tried to fully seat these, they were like barely on there. Like I could just pull it right back off with my hand. So obviously I didn't want that to happen. They're supposed to fit for our Hellcat engine, so it's supposed to also fit the 6.2 along with some other Hemis, but I'm just going to leave the stock ones on here. So these ones are not in bad shape. Like this motor's not old, you guys, so I was going to just replace them just out of precaution, but I don't really see them to be an issue. I don't think it's going to be an issue. If it ever becomes an issue, I can still, you know, replace them with the head on, but some of these motors go like a few 100,000 miles, like 200,000 miles, and they're still not leaking. So and this motor definitely does not have that kind of mileage on it. So what we are going to do today is I'm going to start reassembling the heads. So everything's cleaned up, everything's good to go. So it's just a matter of putting each valve in, putting our spring back on, putting our retainers back in there, and our keepers, and reassembling it with our C-clamp style valve spring compressor. Okay, so we got our valve spring in place. We're going to take our valve, put a little dab of oil on the valve stem, and also where it goes through the seal. And there we go. So that's in place. And we got our compressor. Okay. Keepers are in place, so now we'll release the pressure. There we go. So one down, a million more to go. Okay, so I just put some isopropyl alcohol just on top of the valves just to see if we have any leaks, and look at that, boys. Not a single drip or dribble out of this exhaust side. So we'll flip it onto the other side, double check everything, but I think taking the extra little steps and lapping those valves and getting everything super clean is definitely helping us out here. So we're good on the exhaust side. Let me flip it around. We'll do the same little isopropyl alcohol test and move on to this. All right, so I don't know if you guys can see, probably not, but we've got our alcohol in there, and if we tip it down, we are dry, boys. So we've got a really good seal now. Heck yeah. So dry as a bone now. And I think you guys might be able to see it sloshing around in there. Hopefully you can see. I didn't put like a whole gallon or anything in there, but enough just to coat the sealing surface, and we're good. So dump this out. This head's good to go. Let's get this one back together. All right, so we got this head all back together. I tested out the exhaust valves with our little alcohol tests, and hopefully you guys can see there, we got fluid sloshing around in there. Lay this down. Dry as a bone, boys. So we are fully sealed up. We got fluid in there and not a single little drip. So we're good, boys. So I'm pretty happy about that. Heads are all good to go. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get the surfaces all cleaned up, and let's slap these heads on. Okay, so we've got our surfaces all cleaned up, you guys. Our lifter retaining bolts, these are all torqued down, so make sure those are good. Now we can go ahead, we'll set our gaskets in place. We've got OEM Mopar gaskets, and you'll notice here there's a B and a T. So for top, right there, hopefully you can see, T right there, and B for bottom, and there's a left and a right. So we've got each respective gasket, so I'm gonna go ahead, throw the gasket on, lay the head on, and then we've got brand new OEM Mopar head bolts because they are torqued to yield. Some guys reuse them, but I really don't feel like having to redo things, so we just got brand new ones to go back in. We're gonna go through the torque sequence, and then you add another 90 degrees after the final torque value, and then that will be done and good to go. All right, so the heads are on, you guys. Everything's tightened down to sequence. So we did all the torque to yield stuff, so everything's good to go there. Next up, I'm gonna get my push rods and rocker assemblies in, valve covers on. That way we have this motor sealed up, and we'll see how far we get today, but we're making good progress today, so I'm happy. All right, it's raining like crazy outside, so that's the noise, but we got all of our rocker assemblies in place. If you guys have never done this, intake is marked. So you can see there, it's got the eye right here for the intake, so you know which one's which. Make sure all of your push rods are fully engaged. Follow the instructions. There's a specific torque pattern that you go through, and we're all set. So both sides are good. I'm gonna slap the valve covers on. Again, double check your push rods didn't pop out and they're fully seated in all that sequence. Also make sure that the rocker arms are up against here and they're not pinched underneath these bolts here. So we're all good, and let's throw those covers on. All right, so engine is back together, you guys. Not gonna put the blower on just yet, but I got a brand new blower lid gasket in here, OEM Mopar one. I'm gonna throw that on and just put the blower lid back on, just so at least it's sealed up. No dirt can get in. I'm not gonna put the blower on just yet because I gotta wait till I get the engine out of there so I can kind of fuse the two harnesses together, and I wanna be able to access this plug. So let me throw that lid on, it's getting loud, and then we'll wrap it up. Check out that fresh gasket. Blower lid's all clean now. Also, if you guys ever do this, there's 3 tiny little O-rings here. Make sure that you have them in place. So the only logical thing to do would be to do a leak down test, right? Make sure everything is good after this. There we go. Oh, some thunder. Throw her up to 100 PSI. We're looking good, boys. That's about as perfect as you can get it. So let's move on to the next cylinder. 100 to 100. Look at that, boys. Let's go. There you go. 100 to 100 again. Here we go on cylinder 4. There you go. Doesn't get much better than that. And here we go. Number 2. It's hard to film and twist this thing at the same time, you guys, but we're getting her done. And there you go. So we're good, boys. This motor is back in order. All right, well, that's gonna be a wrap for today's video, you guys. Super happy, super excited. The motor is back together. And like I said, waiting on a bunch of parts. We ordered a ton of parts. They're all supposed to be showing up within the next couple weeks or so. So we'll be getting underway. I want to do a few other things. I'm going to be probably putting Hellcat replica wheels on the Ram, so be doing that in the next day or so. I'll probably get a chance to drive it a little bit more, at least with the 5.7, until we yank the motor. So that motor should be coming out in max 2 weeks. It's coming out. I'm just waiting for our computer to show up, so our PCM showing up, a bunch of parts are showing up, and then we'll have mostly everything that we can start tearing into this thing and getting the job done. So thanks for watching. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you guys are interested in this content. It's about to get pretty spicy here in a minute, and we'll see you guys on the next video.